Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Waharakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel. All right, this lesson I'm going to be getting into, I guess, something along the lines of persecution. All right, because persecution is coming for us. Right, and now, is that, a sweet part of the truth? No, of course it's not sweet. All right, that's a very sour part of the truth, but it's something that we have to endure. All right, that's part of us enduring until the end. All right, and really, if you look at it, if you look at the bigger picture of it, it's still not sweet, but it's less sour because you realize that you're going through these things for Yahweh Yahushai. All right, which there's actually a scripture on that. Let me get that quick before I get into this article. Hold on, Baba Kasha. I want to pull this up. Should be in Romans. Select it worthy to suffer. I think it was Peter. Was it Peter? Okay, well, these all are heavy right here. I'll get this up. This is Acts chapter 5, verse 40. I think it was Peter. Peter and some of the other apostles. Acts 5 and 40. And to him they agreed, and when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yahweh Shai, and let them go. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. And daily in the temple and in every house, they ceased not to teach and to preach Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Now, here's a major thing with this. All right, if you've researched it, out of the 12 apostles, only one of them didn't get killed. All right, and that was John the Revelator, because John went on to write the book of Revelations, right? He was exiled to the Isle of Patmos. And, I'm pretty sure before they actually exiled him, they actually tried to kill him, right? Whether it was poison or trying to boil him in hot water, one of the two, he actually, they failed to do that. They weren't able to kill him, so they exiled him. All right, that's what I've read. And, but all the other ones, they died, whether it be from crucifixion or getting beheaded or getting thrust with a spear or whatever it may be. They all died for Yahweh Yahushai. All right, we have to be in that same mentality. We have to be in that same type of mindset. Okay, and actually, I'll look it up. Why not just get it? Which I don't think it actually gives you. All right, we'll go off this one. Because if you remember, Judas Iscariot, he hung, not hung. Hung is actually the wrong way to use it, but you get what I mean. He hanged himself. All right, he hanged himself after betraying Yahweh Shai, okay? And who replaced him was Matthias. All right, so we got Andrew, says he was crucified. Bartholomew, says he was beaten, then crucified. James, son of Alphaeus, which I think that'd be John's brother. It says he was stoned to death. James, son of Zebedee, was beheaded. Well, hold on, let me just check real quick. Salakia. All right, so James, the son of Zebedee, was John's brother. All right, James, the son of Zebedee, was John the Revelator's brother. James, the son of Alphaeus, he was stoned to death. James, son of Zebedee, which was John's brother, was beheaded. John, which is the brother that we're talking about, exiled for his faith after a failed attempt to fry him in cooking oil. died of old age. All right, he went on to write Revelations. Judas, not Iscariot, so not the one that betrayed Yahushua, stoned to death. Matthew, speared to death. Peter, crucified upside down. Philip, crucified. Simon, which was known as Simon the Zealot, he was crucified. Thomas, speared to death. Matthias, stoned to death. All right, so we have to have this same mentality, man. We have to be willing to die. We have to. But you also need to look at the bigger picture, because you're not really dying. You're just, your flesh is, I mean, you are dying in a carnal sense, but you're dying to receive life. You're dying to receive life. Okay? Because this is not living. This is not living. Our mentality should be, we want to get out of here, whether it's via chariot or via death. All right? We want to get out of this place. Okay? I'm actually going to save this because this is very heavy, and it's something to, it's a lot. Yeah, I'll just screenshot it. All right. So now I want to go into, well, actually, since we're dealing with this, did I finish this? Verse 42. Well, let me just read it again. Acts 5:40. And to him they agreed, and when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yahushua and let them go. So they said, just don't speak in that name. And they let them go. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. Whose name? It's talking about Yahushua. Because those Jews, they worshiped Yahweh. It's just they didn't accept Yahushua. So they suffered it for Yahushua. Because if they were just coming in the name of Yahweh, those people wouldn't have had a problem with him. But they came in Yahweh's son's name, which is Yahushua. All right. Verse 42, and daily in the temple and in every house they ceased not to teach and preach Yahushua HaMashiach. So they still went on to preach that name. They still went to do what was right, even after being beat. All right. I think this is also in Romans, but I'm not sure. Hebrews. Okay. This is Hebrews 11. Verse 36. And others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings, yea, moreover of bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented. Of whom the world was not worthy, they wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and caves of the earth. All right, so this is going into the prophets. Different ways that they died. It says stoned, sawn asunder, slain with the sword. All right, as in like beheaded, or maybe they were thrust with a sword, like stabbed in the abdomen. All right, but let's move on. I want to read this article, okay? Because truth be told, to an extent, it's all pain is just a defense mechanism of your body, okay? That's what it is, and understanding that. I mean, it still hurts. You still feel it, of course, but I'm saying understanding that pain is temporary, and pain is something that is a defense mechanism, and pain is something that, is just, really, like, I don't even know how to, basically just the fact that it's temporary, and the fact that it will be over, okay? But everlasting life will not be over. It's going to last forever. Everlasting happiness, everlasting joy. Everlasting, smiling, man. That's forever. Okay? Pain is temporary. And like I said, it's a defense mechanism for your body. So you don't hurt yourself, because if you didn't feel pain, you would be doing all sorts of things and you wouldn't know if it was bad for you. But since you know pain, you touch that oven, you take your hand back because it burned you. But that kept you from burning your hand and making the injury really severe. All right? But it doesn't take away the fact that it still hurts like crazy. But you get the point, all right? You have to look at the bigger picture. You have to be spiritual with things. We're spirits living in bodies, man. Us getting beat up, or us getting, our throats slit, or getting hanged or beheaded or whatever, getting stoned, that's just the house that our spirit's living in getting destroyed. But once our spirit moves out of that house, we're not living in that house that's getting torn down no more. We're free. We're free. And they call the flesh chains of darkness. Okay, 2 Peter chapter 2. chains of darkness, because this flesh is chains of darkness, because this flesh is weak. All right, flesh is weak, but the spirit is indeed willing. That's what Yahweh Shai said to the disciples, because they were disciples at the time, and they which means students, and apostles just means sent away. All right, they became apostles when Yahweh Shai died. Excuse me, Salakia. And he told them that because they fell asleep. All right. So let me just read through some of this. It says, explainer. What is pain and what is happening when we feel it? Okay. What is pain? It might seem like an easy question. The answer, however, depends on who you ask. Some say pain is a warning signal that something is damaged, but what about pain-free major trauma? Some say pain is the body's way of telling you something is wrong, but what about phantom limb pain, where the painful body part is not even there? Pain scientists are reasonably agreed that pain is an unpleasant feeling in our body that makes us want to stop and change our behavior. We no longer think of pain as a measure of tissue damage. It doesn't actually work that way even in highly controlled experiments. We now think of pain as a complex and highly sophisticated protective mechanism. How does pain work? Our body contains specialized nerves that detect potentially dangerous changes in temperature, chemical balance, or pressure. These danger detectors, or nociceptors, send alerts to the brain, but they cannot send pain to the brain because all pain is made by the brain. Exactly. So to an extent, it's all in your mind, right? You feel and you hear, because when you hear people talking, you're not actually hearing their words to that same extent. You're hearing sound waves, right? Your brain is what scrambles the message into the words, right? Just like when you taste things, your brain is the one it's the control center where your spirit is. I believe your spirit is in your pineal gland. I mean, your whole body, but that's like, a major. Your brain is your control center. Okay, to put it in perspective, your brain is your control center. That's how you're able to taste things and to hear things and to see things. It's because your brain keeps your body moving, right? And that's how you feel pain, because it sends signals to your brain, right? Or your brain sends signals to, I think it's your brain. Your brain sends signals to, let's say you stub your toe. Your brain sends signals to your toe that it hurts. Because I actually read that your physical brain doesn't actually feel pain itself. Like if you were to just, hit your brain, like your literal actual brain, not your scalp or like right under those cells there, and you were just actually hit your brain, it wouldn't actually, But let's just read on. It's really deep. It really is. And when you realize these things, it may make it better for you, because you're like, you just realize that it's even more temporary than you thought. It's just temporary. It's just your body's defense mechanism. All right? It's not the end of you. All right? You getting beat to death, that's not the end of you. You're not going to end. Your flesh is going to end, which is going to end your suffering and your pain and your even your iniquity, because this flesh is what causes us to sin. You're going to get that spirit. All right? Well, you're already a spirit, but I mean, you're going to get that you're going to just be that just spirit. That's what I should say. Your spirit's just going to leave your body, which is you. You are your spirit. We're just dwelling in temporary houses, right? Well, temples really is what they're called. I mean, we're just spirits living in bodies, right? So when you die, and right as soon as your spirit leaves, it's like you don't feel any of that anymore, man. And they can keep beating their body and stabbing you and torturing you and all that, but if your spirit's out, it doesn't matter. You don't feel that, right? Pain is not actually coming from the wrist you broke or the ankle you sprained. Pain is a result of the brain evaluating information, including danger data from the danger detection system, cognitive data such as expectations, previous exposure, cultural and social norms and beliefs, and other sensory data such as what you see, hear, and otherwise sense. The brain produces pain. Where in the body the brain produces the pain is the best guess scenario based on all the incoming data and stored information. Usually the brain gets it right, but sometimes it doesn't. An example is referred pain in your leg, when it is your back that might need the protecting. It is pain that tells us not to do things. For example, not to lift with an injured hand or not to walk with an injured foot. It is pain, too, that tells us to do things. See a physio, visit a GP, sit still and rest. We now know that pain can be turned on or turned up by anything that provides the brain with credible evidence that the body is in danger and needs protecting. All in your head? So is pain all about the brain and not all about the body? No. So like I was saying, it's basically all in your brain. Okay, like the pain is felt in these areas, but your brain is what is causing you to really feel these type of things. All right, but you'll see what they're saying when they say this. No, these danger detectors are distributed across almost all of our body tissues and act as the eyes of the brain. So they still need the brain to feel that, though. Because if you didn't have a brain, those detectors wouldn't work. Because once again, your brain is your control center. Another way you can put it is the outlet. All right. I mean, you can have a cord and you can swing this cord and look at it and do all this and that with it, but it's not going to turn on your TV until you plug it into an outlet. When there is a sudden change in tissue environment, for example, it heats up, gets acidic. What does that say? Cyclists. Imagine the lactic acid burn at the end of a sprint is squashed, squeezed, pulled, or pinched. These danger detectors are our first line of defense. They alert the brain and mobilize inflammatory mechanisms that increase blood flow and cause the release of healing molecules from nearby tissue, thus triggering the repair process. Local anesthetic renders these danger detectors useless, so danger messages are not triggered. As such, we can be pain-free despite major tissue trauma, such as being cut into for an operation, all right? And Yahweh can turn those on and off, man. And that's actually what I think. This is my vain opinion, so it's up to you, but I just want to say this because it's on my spirit to say it. I believe that the pain detectors will be turned up max and probably even more than you can ever possibly imagine for those 2/3 that are going through whatever judgment they receive, especially those nuclear missiles. And I feel like time is gonna feel like to them like it's taken forever, whereas for the martyrs that die, those pain detectors could be turned very low, or they could be turned off completely. All right, and it would seem like a blink of an eye and it's over, like really fast. That's just my thought. I mean, maybe not exactly like that, but you get the general gist of what I'm saying. All right? Because one of the brothers actually from the Maccabees that was tortured and killed, he actually didn't regard the pains, it said. But we're going to keep reading because this is so heavy. This is really heavy. Which Yahweh Yahushua, this is exhortation. All right? Because this just proves even more that it's all temporary. Okay? And once your spirit leaves, you're not going to feel it, all right? Which is actually why in Matthew, I think it's 10 and 28, but I'm not sure. I'm going to go to that, but if it's not 10 and 28, then I'll paraphrase it. Okay, Dawadah Yahweh Yahushua it is. Matthew 10 and 28, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. So that's men, that's Esau, all right? Mainly Esau is going to be the one, whoever, that's people, that's man, that's mortal men, all right? But are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him. So one individual, which is who? Yahweh, which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell, okay? And remember, hell is 3 different things. Either it's a condition, all right? It's the grave, or it is Gehenna, all right? Which is a place where they sacrifice to idols and burn trash and stuff like that. Okay? So don't fear what man can do. Don't fear a knife. Your flesh may have you fear, but I'm saying look at the bigger picture. Think about it. That knife and that gun can't do nearly as much damage as Yahweh can do to you, man. All right? Yahweh can make that knife, cutting you and stabbing you in the throat seem like a paper cut compared to what he can do, man. And that's an understatement. Let's just be real with that. All right, let's be honest with regarding that and regarding everything, but don't fear him, don't fear it. They can't do anything unless Yahweh ordains it to happen, okay? They can't do anything. They're in complete control. They may not think that. They may be too prideful and they're blinded, but they're in complete control. They know, and a perfect example of that is this. They know exactly where we are. They know exactly who we are. They know exactly, really even when we sleep, when we're awake, when we're asleep, what we're doing. They know all this, but why don't they come for us yet? Because Yahweh is not allowing them to. That's why. Because otherwise, if they had free will, because free will doesn't exist, all right? Everything is ordained. And you can look at that to a certain extent, and you may, trip upon that. But things are set up, all right? Things are set up. If you're going to be a martyr, that was already set up to happen, okay? We're actors living out a role, all right? So now, don't stumble upon that, all right? Don't think way too deep on that, because we've all been there. Don't think too deep upon that, all right? Just live out your role and do what you're supposed to do, all right? Follow the scriptures, all right? Because if you think too deep on things, you can bug out, all right? Just telling you now. But we're just living out a role, all right? But Esau can't do this and that unless it's ordained to happen to you, all right? That's because otherwise, if they literally could do whatever they want, they would have killed us already. They would already have killed us. They know where we are. They know who we are. They know what we're doing. They know when we're asleep, but they still don't come for us. Why? Because they're not able to yet, all right? But pretty soon they are going to be able to. They are. All right. So now let's read on. Inflammation, on the other hand, renders these danger detectives more sensitive, so they respond to situations that are not actually dangerous. For example, when you move an inflamed joint, it hurts a long way before the tissues of the joint are actually stressed. And that's just, once again, more of the protective mechanism, okay, to make sure that you don't further damage it. And really for you to rest, Danger messages travel to the brain and are highly processed along the way, with the brain itself taking part in the processing. The danger transmission neurons that run up the spinal cord to the brain are under real-time control from the brain. Increasing and decreasing their sensitivity according to what the brain suggests would be helpful. So if the brain's evaluation of all available information leads it to conclude that things are truly dangerous, when the danger transmission system becomes more sensitive, called descending, Salaki if I mispronounce any words, facilitation, if the brain concludes things are not truly dangerous, then the danger transmission system becomes less sensitive, called descending inhibition. Danger evaluation in the brain is mind-bogglingly complex. Many brain regions are involved, some more commonly than others. I think it's supposed to be some more commonly than others, but the exact mix of brain regions varies between individuals and, in fact, between moments within individuals. Let's just read on, because it's very heavy. We got time. Right now, we got time. But Yahweh Yahushua Ratazah, that we're of the elect. And if you're a sincere sister, that you're of the 1/3. And that time can fly by and speed up for us. Because we really want to get out of this place. But let's read on. I think I just read that. To understand how pain emerges into consciousness requires us to understand how consciousness itself emerges, and that is proving to be very tricky. To understand how pain works in real life people with real life pain, we can apply a reasonably easy principle. Any credible evidence that the body is in danger and protective behavior would be helpful will increase the. That doesn't even sound right. Any credible evidence that the body is in danger and protective behavior would be helpful will increase the likelihood and intensity of pain. Any credible evidence that the body is safe will decrease the likelihood and intensity of pain. It is as simple and as difficult as that. Implications. To reduce pain, we need to reduce credible evidence of danger and increase credible evidence of safety. Danger detectors can be turned off by local anesthetic. And we can also stimulate the body's own danger reduction pathways and mechanisms. This can be done by anything that is associated with safety. Most obviously, accurate understanding of how pain really works, exercise, active coping strategies, safe people and places. A very effective way to reduce pain is to make something else seem more important to the brain. This is called distraction. Only being unconscious or dead provide greater pain relief than distraction. All right, which I think that's actually all we want to read. Oh, well, actually, it's almost over. It's almost over. I might as well finish it. In chronic pain, the sensitivity of the hardware, the biological structures, increases, so the relationship between pain and the true need for protection becomes distorted. We become overprotected by pain. This is one significant reason there is no quick fix for nearly all persistent pains. Recovery requires a journey of patience, persistence, courage, and good coaching. The best interventions focus on solely training our body and brain to be less protective. All right. So if Yahweh wills, I'll put this link in the description box, even though I read the whole thing, just in case you want to look at it yourself. But let's get into the scripts. Now, you should already know where I'm probably going right now. I'm going to go to 2 Maccabees 7 as one of the examples. All right. Now, this is 2 Maccabees chapter 7. I'll start at verse 1. It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. But one of them that spake first said thus, What wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. Then the king, being in a rage, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot, which forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the utmost parts of his body, the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. Now when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire and to be fried in the pan. And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted They exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus, The Lord Yahweh looketh upon us, and in truth hath comfort in us, as Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, And he shall be comforted in his servants. So when the first was dead after this number, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, Wilt thou eat, before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? But he answered in his own language and said no, which would be la'ah, right, which means no, L-A-A-H. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order as the former did. And when he was at the last gasp, he said, Thou like a fury takest us out of this present life, but the King of the world shall raise us up, who have died for his laws unto everlasting life. After him was the third made a mocking stock, and when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hands manfully, and said courageously, These I had from heaven, and for his laws I despised them, and from him I hope to receive them again. Insomuch that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pains. All right, so that was, Kahalayim, La Alashadi Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, Waharakak Wadash, Brakathum, to these, the martyrs, to all the martyrs that died for Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. These brethren and their mother, and the many other martyrs. And we got to endure, man. We got to endure. And I'm also going to use the example of David's 3 friends. They didn't die, but they were willing to. And you'll see. All right? You'll see exactly what I mean if you haven't heard of that yet. All right? Which these people are back today. Right? Well, maybe, they could be in the spirit world, but reincarnation is in the scriptures. So these type of people can be back. The apostles are back. The prophets are back. So, verse 13. Now when this man was dead also, they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, It is good, being put to death by men, to look for hope from Yahweh to be raised up again by him. As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. Afterward they brought the fifth also and mangled him. And looked he unto the king and said, Thou hast power over men, thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of Yahweh. But abide a while, and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. After him also they brought the sixth, who being ready to die said, Be not deceived without cause. For we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our power. Therefore marvelous things are done unto us. But think not thou that takest in hand to strive against Yahweh, that thou shalt escape unpunished. But the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of 1 day, she bare it with a good courage, because of the hope that she had in the Lord. Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. She said unto them, I cannot tell how ye came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you, but doubtless the Creator of the world, who formed the generation of man, and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as ye now regard not your own selves for his law's sake. Law's sake. Which is the laws that we are to keep to this day, to the best of our ability, the laws that we can keep, because we are in captivity and stuff like that. But still, verse 24, Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and a happy man if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs. But when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, the king called his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life. And when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. But she, bowing herself toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her country language on this manner, O my son, have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in the womb, and gave thee such 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured the troubles of education. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth, and all that is therein, and consider that Yahweh made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise. Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. While she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, Whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses. And thou that hast been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shalt not escape the hands of Yahweh. All right, so they're going to receive their judgment, man. Whatever they do to us, they're going to receive worse. Understand that. All right, understand that. For we suffer because of our sins, because remember, we're worthy of death. Infinity fold, in the worst ways possible. All right, and that's an understatement. And though the living Lord be angry with us a little while for our chastening and correction, yet shall he be at one again with his servants. But thou, O godless man, and of all other most wicked, be not lifted up without a cause, nor puffed up with uncertain hopes, lifting up thy hand against the servants of Yahweh. For thou hast not yet escaped the judgment of Almighty Yahweh, who seeth all things. For our brethren who now have suffered a short pain are dead under Yahweh's covenant of everlasting life, but thou through the judgment of Yahweh shalt receive just punishment for thy pride. But I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers, beseeching Yahweh that he would speedily be merciful unto our nation, and that thou by torments and plagues mayest confess that he alone is God, right? Basically, or the one only true power, Yahweh, and that in me and my brethren the wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon our nation, may cease. Then the king, being in a rage, handed him worse than all the rest, and took it grievously that he was mocked. So this man died undefiled, and put his whole trust in the Lord. Last of all, after the sons and the mother died, let this be enough now to have spoken concerning the idolatrous feasts and the extreme tortures. All right. Salakia. This is Daniel chapter 3, verse 10. Thou, O king, which is talking about Nebuchadnezzar, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image, so idol worship, which is obviously, a sin that's going off, all right, majorly. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it wont to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, basically astonished, surprised, shocked. All right, basically is what that word means. All right, stonied, and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire, and the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors being gathered together saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word, and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. That speaks for itself, man. So they denied to worship an idol, and because of that, they were cast into a fiery furnace that was so hot to the point where it killed those men that threw them in there, but it didn't do anything to them. It didn't burn them for a second. It didn't burn them at all. It didn't burn their shirts. It didn't burn their hair. It didn't make them smell like fire. Nothing. All right. That's beautiful, man. That's Yapa. That's really Yapa. All right. Now I want to get these. This is Slovakia. Let me get something real quick. This is Romans 8:18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. All right, and that's very true. Okay, because dying on this, because remember, there's only so many of the elect that are going to be martyrs. Yahweh, Yahushua, that we're of the elect, or if you're a sister of the 1/3, and that we can endure. But though many of the elect won't die, all right, they'll get beamed up. But whether you are a martyr or not, or you just, catching major hell and all this and that, that's nothing compared to the glory of the kingdom, which is everlasting, right? Romans 8:34. Who is he that condemneth? It is Hamashiach that died, yea, rather, that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of Yahweh, who also maketh intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Hamashiach? Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword? As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. I'm pretty sure Apostle Paul was actually killed. He was beheaded. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. For I am persecuted, that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yahweh, which is in Hamashiach Yahushai, our Lord. All right, so that speaks for itself, man. All right? So I think I'm going to stop there. That's a beautiful place to stop. No. I got some more scripts. There's a lot more scripts. I just want to hit the main ones that are popping up in my spirit, but I want to get this. I do want to get this. First, I'll get this. Revelations 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, now we're going into the mark of the beast. Okay, when the RFID chip is made mandatory, the microchip implant, when that's made mandatory, you're going to be extremely tempted to get it, but you need to deny temptation. You need to deny the flesh. Okay, trust Yahweh Yahushai. All right, and this is another reason, because they're going to threaten you with death if you do not take it. All right, which actually, let me just read that first. Revelations 20:4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushai, and for the word of Yahweh, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. All right, so they were beheaded because they refused to take the chip. All right, because they refused to conform to Esau. Because Esau is trying to exalt himself as God. He's been doing that for a long time now. All right, and getting that chip shows that you submitted yourself to worshiping Esau. All right, shows that you are owned by Esau. All right, so now let's get Revelation chapter 13, Revelations 14, going to if you take the chip. But let me get Revelations 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. All right? So we have to look at the examples that were given to us. The apostles being put to death. Those brothers and their mother being put to death. Though Daniel thrown in a lion's den, he didn't die, but he was thrown in there. He was tried. Jeremiah being thrown into a pit. Jeremiah actually ended up eventually getting killed. Isaiah got sawn in half. Daniel actually, I'm not sure if he ended up getting killed eventually. I don't think he did, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. In fact, let me just look it up. I don't think he died. I don't remember reading that. But Isaiah was sawn in half. Jeremiah was stoned or something like that in Egypt. He was killed. And of course the best example of all is Yahushua. He caught nothing but hell, man, for our sakes. All right? Let me get this. Romans 12. And it's not really a matter of how they died, specifically. That's beside the point. But, just to see. But the point is they died. Whether it's crucifixion or being stoned or being beheaded or whatever the case may be, they died for what they believe in. And that may have to be us. All right, Romans 12:1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service. Right? So that's straight up. Okay, straight up. Let me end with this precept right here. I'm going to close it. Yahweh, Yahushua, Ratazah. This was edifying. Matthew 24:13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So whether your lot is to be a martyr or get beamed up or whatever the case may be, you have to endure. Okay? You have to endure. So Yahweh, Yahushua, Ratazah. This was edifying and a good exhortation through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua. With that said, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Waharakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone rule well. Peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel. Shalom.